right, what's poppin', Tub Nation? Welcome back to Tub Takes. This is a VGC video podcast where we go over what's making waves in the. It's where I can't talk as fast as Audie, I guess. It's a VGC video podcast where we go over what's been making waves in the VGC scene. Today, I am joined by my co-host Audie. How you doing?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's good to be here. We got a big episode today. We got the Puerto Rican special event. We got both the champion and the finalist. I'll let you introduce them, Alex.
Yeah. So, the champion here, Hunter, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
And your runner-up at the San Juan special event, Eric, how you doing?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks both of you coming on, especially because Audie and I are so lazy. So you have to know that we asked them day of, and they were just like, "Yeah, sure." So we're like terrible at getting guests sometimes, and they were very accommodating. Appreciate you both. We're going to be previewing EUIC today, as well as talking about the results of these tournaments as much we can. The results of them are not completely out, so we'll be piecing it together through various means and retellings of the tournament. And maybe I could pull up the stream too. I know that the stream was also in like parts and stuff. I mean, obviously appreciate that there was a stream at all, because sometimes you just don't get one. So it's still great that we got to watch it. And yeah, other than that, this is going to be on YouTube tomorrow. So if you're here now, but you won't be able to, catch the whole thing, or if you'd rather watch this on 2x, go ahead and check it out on YouTube. I'll go ahead and do the command here. Audio. Thank you. So, yeah. Anyways, exclamation point YT if you ever forget what the YouTube channel is, but there it is. And other than that, we'll be answering any of your questions. If you have questions for either of the two finalists here about, their runs and stuff, anything that they can't answer, we'll go ahead and get into talking about that. But first and foremost, we don't have any like housekeeping stuff. I wanted to talk about the VR challenge. There was, 2 tournaments this weekend, and one of these still had some pretty solid prize money on the line here in Victory Road. 680 for first place here, going to this Koraidon Smeargle team. And I don't know, if this was like something that was revealed to me as EUIC is coming up, I would not be happy to see it. Not just because like I'm an Ice Rider player, but just in general, it looks like, oh god, Smeargle winning a large online tournament, the Major before, like you better have good Smeargle game plans, I guess. But yeah, anybody else have any thoughts on this team in particular? I know that we've seen Koraidon teams with a lot of these members before, maybe not all of them on the same exact sets, but yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the Smeargle adjustment is kind of interesting here. Especially because like they don't have any, just like from looking at the team at first glance, like they don't have any obvious setup Pokemon like you would normally expect from like a double redirection team like Calyrex Shadow Rider. It's like they just have a Koraidon with Flame Charge. But I think it's really interesting. It's a very creative team.
Flame Charge does make the numbers go up, apparently. I mean, it's not the damage numbers, but the speed.
It also, Koraidon is, because I think the easiest way to deal with Smeargle for a lot of teams is you try to Surging Strikes through it. And now Koraidon sort of nullifies that as well. And so that is another really nice utility of putting Smeargle on this style of team.
That is super cute. Yeah. Got the double sash on your redirections as well. Like follow me and sash on both.
Yeah, Koraidon is just very good at ripping through like generic balance teams like Incineroar and Rillaboom. Koraidon just doesn't care about any of those. So enabling Koraidon just with a basic Smeargle redirection is something that seems really simple, but in practice, I'm sure it's really hard to deal with.
Yeah, not to mention that, Incin, Rilla, Ursh are the 3 Pokemon that, Adi already mentioned Urshifu kind of being kept at bay because of the sun allowing the Surging Strikes to be nullified. But yeah, Urshifu doesn't do great into the Koraidon in general. Incin and Rilla both hit super effectively. Usually are also people's default Spore answers. The Safety Goggles Incin, the Rillaboom. We have the Ogerpons now that are also a pretty solid answer. Some of those may be better than others, but yeah, the fact that you can counter a lot of the people's Spore counterplay with Sun, it's a pretty cool synergy. And so yeah, I don't think that this seems like a team that you can dismiss. I don't know if people are going to like all disband. I mean, maybe there's a lot, maybe there's more people who don't have a team for EUIC that I'm originally realizing. But, you know, I wouldn't say that like a bunch of people are going to literally just jump ship with whatever they had and jump onto this. But I think that it's probably one that you should be thinking about your team's game plan into going into EUIC.
Yeah, and I mean, if you scroll down, there's a bracket. And a really surprising thing. I was like, oh, you know, there wasn't a ton of Ice Rider in this tournament. It didn't do super well. No, not only did this team beat Ice Rider in top 8, but it also beat a Rain Ice Rider team in top 16, which is normally the foil for Koraidon. The most difficult matchup is Pelipper Ice Rider. And so the fact that it managed to we don't know how that matchup went down, obviously, but the fact that it managed to beat that matchup is probably very telling. And I mean, credit to the player, but also the team, I think, has some stuff going for it that allows it to do that. Namely, the wide guard of Smeargle, very good into Ice Rider, and the Rock Pond, very good into Ice Rider. So it has some really nice tools there.
Trying to think if there was any other big finishes from teams that surprise us. I think I don't know why everyone has come to this exact same conclusion. Maybe it's the Victory Road tournaments. I mean, I guess it does look that way. But I'm hearing everybody saying that it's Miraidon Shadow Rider's time. That, you know, you're expecting all the Europeans to be running Miraidon and Shadow Rider. So this weekend we'll have to see if that comes true. But you do see 2 Arubega teams here. I think Sandby also down here with Arubega. Like, it's just still taking up a huge portion of the top cut slots, especially when the tournaments are European favored. And this is, you know, Victory Road usually run at times that Europeans like to be playing at. So, yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's true. That's true. I mean, like, it is just crazy to me that I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna start some, like, you know, as if there isn't enough, like, you know, rivalry between EU and NA. But like, why is it not doing as well over here? Is it because we figured out how to beat it, or do we just not like running it? And they just love it over there, and I don't know. It's kind of it's just amusing to me.
Well, we have the data to find that out, don't we? We can pull up the San Antonio stats and see exactly how many people ran that 6 Pokemon versus at Birmingham.
I can look at the ones that like earned points at least.
Well, no, I mean, if you go on LabMouse, you can see the full team compositions, and so I can
do it that way.
See that 4.3% of the field at San Antonio ran Arubega Miraidon, whereas I'm sure you're pulling that up. I'm trying to find Birmingham now.
Oh, okay. I'll just let you run the numbers. But yeah, that is so funny. It's probably like one of the most common 6 still, even in San Antonio, just because, like, I mean, in terms of like teams that people are really ripping, people probably still copying the World Championship team.
Right, and only 4.2% of people ran it at Birmingham. So I think that, you know, the win probably influenced some people, but it didn't actually do very well at San Antonio. I think there was they did none of them cut, and there was 1 in top 32 or something like that. So
you're saying the number was about the same? It was 4. What was it?
It was 4.3 at San Antonio and 4.2 at Birmingham.
Oh, okay. So mostly the same, very small difference there. Okay. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I would take any excuse to just say that Europeans can't play the game. So I'm gonna say that, yeah, they haven't figured out how to beat the world's team months later, and they still haven't. They're gonna, you know, let it win EUIC apparently. Okay. Jokes aside, though, this team is still doing well. I can't remember where this one first popped up. This Choice Scarf Kyogre team, was it at San Antonio?
I think it was just another Victory Road tournament.
It might have been another Victory Road tournament. Thank you. But
I think it might have been the same player.
That would probably make sense.
Yeah, I recognize that username on ladder.
That is it's a cool one, and honestly, I don't know if it's one that you really need to be hyper focused on, because maybe it's just that one person. But no one running Arubega's team got points at Merida. Well, Merida is like a much smaller event, but that's still like pretty noteworthy. Okay. And yeah, other than that, I don't know. I mean, if there's no other standout teams, we'll probably keep it moving. I'm scrolling through here, having a look, and this is a team that I might expect more people to start pick up. This is the Tinglu Dozo Zamazenta team that Elizabeth was running, or maybe it was this 6. I think it was this 6, or something close to it. And
was this the team that Dawei did well with?
No, Dawei used Shadow Rider, right?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's the key thing here is that it's a Azama Zenta Dozo Ting team, and yeah, I think Elizabeth did well on the in-game ladder and then posted the team again, so might be having a bit of a Japanese influence on the metagame there again. And yeah, the rest of this are teams that failed to make it through to day 2, so yeah, probably not too much to say about this one, but anyways, that said though, it's at least a decent idea of what a lot of the European players are looking into, and maybe everyone is right. Maybe it's going to be a more ride-on Shadow Rider festival if they don't get checked, basically. Okay, so
and if it is, we see. I mean, in second place, we see Combine Terapagos, which is the perfect foil to the Maridon Shadow Rider festival, right? So I really do think there are checks and balances here.
Yep. Maybe it's turtle time. I don't know. I mean, like that's always the kind of the, I guess the like more fun part about Reg G, even though I think it's also a little bit cringe, is like seeing if you can get that meta call right, especially if you're somebody that's like really flexible with what restricted you want to run. You know, if you're going to be running, exactly when restricted, then you got to figure out exactly what kind of techs you can do to make matchups better or worse, and that's also interesting too. But yeah, picking your restricted, picking the one that seems to be the most favored going into a tournament. It's not not super simple, but if you know where the meta's heading, you can maybe be one step ahead. Specs is the way to go. No, I honestly I really don't like Specs Turtle. This one's okay. This one's just Calm Mind. Yeah. Though it's really funny that if Turtle is the way and then Koraidon comes out on top, it's like one step ahead of one step ahead. So I don't know, but then it starts to become cyclical because maybe it's bad into the Shadow Rider Miraidons. It ended up winning this tournament, but I don't know exactly what its schedule looked like. Regardless, though.
Well, yeah, it dodged all the Shadow Riders and Miraidons and faced the great matchup in Ice Rider instead.
I think it's got plenty of tools for Ice Rider. I don't know. I think it's pretty reasonable, but you're right. Ice Rider does but baseline do pretty well into it.
And also notably, it beat Shohei Kimura, who was on the Arabega team.
Oh, you're right.
In top 4.
Yep.
So it does have a decent matchup in there as well.
That is exactly right. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to talking about San Juan, which took place over this past weekend, a special event. And we have both of the finalists here to kind of fill us in on a bit of what happened this past weekend over there. We've got some of the teams. We've got both of our finalists' open team sheets here, and we'll kind of piece together the results. We know that what was the top 4, Adi? You had it.
It was Patrick and Vijay were in top 4.
Okay, Patrick and Vijay. And so yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and start from the top. And I guess one quick question is, how many players were there, and how many rounds did you guys play?
So I actually had messaged the organizer on their WhatsApp number because that was the only way you could contact them for information about the event. I said, how many people signed up for Video Game Masters? Because I wanted to know about how well I need to expect to do to leave with championship points. I was told that there was 147 signups for Masters. There were 98 Masters at the tournament. So a no-show rate of about 33%, which is, I think, the most I'd ever seen in any tournament. Even back in Puerto Rico 2023, which I also went to, I think there was 50-something signups, and then a bunch of people decided not to go because of the tropical storm that didn't end up coming. And only 15 people didn't show up. We still had 35 out of 50 or something like that. So I don't know if this has ever happened before, but the no-show rate, if the numbers are accurate, the no-show rate was pretty surprising. But there was 98 players.
That is actually pretty crazy to me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened. I think the signups were relatively cheap compared to other NA regionals. So it was only I think it was $35 or $25. I forget which one. But
it was less than half.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I guess then, yeah, people might have just it filled up, assumedly, right? I'm guessing it capped.
No, the cap was 160. We didn't hit the cap. People just decided they didn't want to play or didn't want to go. Apparently.
Yeah, they had a menu, but they ended up upgrading to a bit bigger one for the event.
That was
that
a
part's
nice
just kind of
upgrade.
surprising to me because
In
you would think if people wanted, like, I figured it was capping because like everyone's like booking these seats just to hold them just in case that it fills up, and the fact that a lot of people registered, didn't even go, and also didn't even hit the cap. That's just like this is such a bizarre scenario to me.
It's very weird.
Okay, so then we had like almost 100 players in the Masters division, and Hunter, you ended up going all the way with I mean, sorry, you can't. I don't know if you can really argue it, but a relatively boring team. We've seen this one before, but one that you I'm sure are very, very comfortable with. Did you have a lot of experience using this team going into the tournament?
So prior to going into San Antonio, I was using Terapagos Balance, which was very, very similar to this team. And I ended up bringing it to San Antonio. It got dumpstered by a bunch of just honestly, it was mostly bad play more than anything. And then I was just watching some of the VODs from San Antonio, and I had this realization that this Kyogre team, or at San Antonio, it was mainly Iron Jugulus over the Roaring Moon, but this Kyogre team like basically plays the exact same way as a Terapagos team, except Kyogre doesn't die in one hit. So I basically did the 1-for-1 swap with Kyogre, and things just immediately started clicking, which was very surprising to me. It was like a 1-for-1 swap, but immediately things just felt better. And that's just what I started grinding with. So in this specific team, not too much experience, but it's not very hard to get accustomed to this team. You just really just slot in Kyogre. Everything else is like pretty familiar. And then obviously like the Jugulus versus the Roaring Moon. The Roaring Moon, I think, is better overall. There's only one matchup that in practice where Iron Jugulus felt better, and ironically enough, it was Terragrass Zamazenta, but I convinced myself that wasn't real. I ended up playing it twice, but
okay.
What
was your record into
there's not 1-1, and it was against the same player.
Oh, okay. That's pretty funny. Well, I guess you beat him the second time. Otherwise, they would have knocked you out, right? So you figured it out. Yeah, it does not surprise me that coming from Calm Mind Incineroar to Calm Mind Incineroar, there's still some similarities there. But
you got a problem with Calm Mind Incineroar?
Yes, I do. The inventor of Calm Mind Incineroar. Sorry, my bad, Adi. You ran the bad setup move on that horse. That's.
The biggest difference between this and Terapagos is that you don't need to click Calm Mind on Kyogre for it to actually have an impact on the game. You can just start going for damage. That was the one big thing that I noticed was whenever I was playing Terapagos is like the only way you're getting a knockout is if they close combat into your Terra Shell and then you just kill it in your modest nature. That's basically it. With Kyogre, you can just start taking KOs immediately. That's the one big difference, I think, other than the fact that you don't just immediately fold to like close combat.
Well, I think another thing that I mean, you're the one that played the team, so I'm not going to say that I know better than you. But would it not just be the freedom to Terra? This is the thing that like makes me hate Terapagos right now. Is that you just don't get to Terra anything else nearly as freely. It's such a bigger cost. Whereas this team, if Kyogre can remain a water type, then something else can take on the Terra role or whatever. It can use up the Terra resource because Kyogre's natural typing pairs really well with a lot of these Pokemon. It completes a Fire, Water, Grass core. You can always switch out to something else if you need to. Whereas Terapagos, it's a lot more exposed at all the time. Like it is never going to change its counters. Essentially, its counters are always going to be that fighting type on the opposing team, Terra or not. But if you choose not to Terra it, then it does have a lot of drawbacks. Like not nearly as much bulk once the Terra Shell is gone, and also you don't even have access to a spread move. So I'm sure that also played at least a little bit of a role of that extra flexibility, right?
For sure. I'm sure it's also partially like just a skill issue because I know that there are other players who are doing well with Terapagos. It just wasn't for me, I think.
No, I hate the turtle. We can talk shit about the turtle. It's all right. It doesn't have to be a skill issue. I do think that even though it won VR and got second in this one, I think everybody that's losing to it is they got to figure it out because it's so straightforward. Come on, it's doing the same thing every game. It's just like I'm gonna protect and go to my redirection or my fake out. I'm gonna protect and then I'm gonna fake out Calm Mind. Like come on. Whereas I feel like Kyogre, it can do a lot more interesting things. Like you said, it can step on the gas early. It doesn't have to Terra, so something else can. But other than that, yeah, I would say since there's not a whole lot to talk about the team, it's not a brand new concept. I'm curious if there was, without diving into a full team report or anything or a full recap of your run, were there any standout games during your run?
My favorite game was definitely the last round of Swiss. So round 8, I got paired into the last undefeated player, and I think his name was Mario. He was running the Ting Lu Doza with Zamazenta that we were just talking about from the VR tour. Right. It was that same 6. It was a very close, like, back and forth set with a lot of like aggressive reads, repositioning. It was like one of those games where both players were just balling out, and I feel like I played some of the best that I'd ever played. And it was just a really good set overall. That was definitely probably the most memorable match for me, where I felt like I played really well and my opponent played really well, and it was just a fun match to play. Going into the cut of this tournament, it felt like I was getting carried less by my play and getting carried more by variance. We can talk about that more if you want, but well, it's all a bit hazy past that point.
I heard some of this was showcased on stream. What was the funniest bits of variance on the stream match? Because I remember reading about it, but I didn't have time to watch the match myself on Sunday because I was at a local. But yeah, what ended up happening in those stream games?
I heard there was I was in the venue watching the stream, but I was like sort of towards the back, so I couldn't see the screen too well. But I think there was some hurricane confusions happening.
Okay. Yeah, that is quite. I mean, I don't know. RNG is definitely a part of the game, and sometimes it's what I root for when I'm watching a stream game. Like sometimes you just want to see like the most entertaining wild set. Like if I was watching a Kyogre team, I'm sorry, but I'm rooting for every Origin Pulse miss. Gotta see some, gotta see you work for it. Let's jump over to second place here. Eric, let's talk a bit about your team here. So this one, I think this originally was the team run by Keanu. I might have gotten knocked out of Worlds by this team, so I don't have a lot of good things to say about it. It's obviously a very strong team, but a little bitter there, just a little bitter.
Hold up, Alex. Name one team you do have good things to say about. That's what I want.
Is there an Ice Rider team? Oh, this one! Oh, look at this! Look at this! Oh, this next one's awesome. No, honestly, this is a fine team. I just have this is like a completely unrelated to the merit of the team beef. This team is good. I'll be honest, I hate to death this team. This team is so stupid, dude. I hope that that Origin Pulse, just spamming Origin Pulse, come on. Though, are we any better when we're just spamming Sandsteer with our Landos on these Ice Rider teams? No, it's the same thing. All right, we jumped all over the place though. Eric, please tell me a bit about your team and then also your run.
Yeah, so I think this team is really strong. I'm friends with David Baumgart, and I helped him prep with a similar team to this for San Antonio, and he ended up going 9-1 in Swiss, got knocked down to 9-2 by a pretty rough matchup, and ended up finishing top 32 in top cut. And I just thought the team was really strong. And in practice, my performance was pretty good with it. So I just decided to run with it. And I think it's really good because a lot of people like aren't really prepared for like Terragrass Zamazenta. Especially like a lot of the Ice Rider teams. Like I feel like this team in particular has like a lot of Ice Rider hate. Because I think like now people are starting to build Ice Rider teams with like a bit more Zamazenta hate, because that's obviously one of Ice Rider's worst matchups. And so that was kind of one of my big adjustments from Keanu's team, was running the Behemoth Bash over Heavy Slam, because I feel like it does really well into a lot of the Terra Fairy Ice Riders. And like I think a big reason for people running Heavy Slam was like if you go up against like a Flutter main and you're at -1, you still KO. But I feel like now that's not really relevant, because people just go like the really bulky max HP 132 defense, and they just live that anyways at -1. So I'm kind of a fan of Behemoth Bash. And yeah, I think the team is. I think it's really strong. I think it has like a decent matchup spread. There are definitely like a few teams that are in the meta that I think can beat it. So I'm not sure if I would take this to EUIC if I was going to EUIC. But yeah, I'm glad I was able to bring it to this tournament and able to have a strong performance.
What was your favorite match from the tournament?
If
Oh wait, first hold on. Before that, Adi, what's your question?
I gotta do a bit after every comment. Sorry. Well, if the meta is actually going to be Terapagos, if that's the call for EUIC, then maybe Zamazenta's, the
gotta be one step ahead. Always one step ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, Reg G is actually just like, man, everybody's playing scissors, and so everyone's gonna start running rock. I'm gonna run paper, and then you play all the scissors, and you're like, what am I doing? That's Reg G.
Yep.
Anyways, what was your favorite match of the tournament?
I would actually have like the same answer as like I think it is Mario. Because
that's funny.
Yeah, so I ended the day one of the tournament at 6-0, and Mario was the only other 6-0 player. It was with the Zamazenta Ting Lu team.
Yep.
And we just like my friend group and we hadn't really like done any preparations into it. So I was just kind of like messaging people like after day one, like, hey, what do I do into this team? And we ended up coming up with a really good game plan, and it was a super, super tight 3-game set. I did end up losing, unfortunately. That's why I ended up getting knocked down to 6-1. But I think it was it was just like a really like fun experience to like be able to like work with my friends on this matchup. And yeah, I think we had a pretty good plan overall, even though it didn't quite end up working out. It definitely could have gone either way, and it was a super fun set.
One other question from the chat actually was, did you run into any Volcarona? That was something that they were struggling with on maybe a similar Zamazenta team.
I did not run into any Volcarona, but yeah, Volcarona can definitely be a pain because of Flame Body. So
yeah, I was gonna say that Volcarona is probably a Pokemon at a comfortable usage where if that is your one thorn in your side, I would just load up the team in the tournament and just say I'm not gonna fight that many Volcarona. If I fight more than one, like that's pretty brutal. Adi's gonna go ahead and pull up the usage stats for Volcarona now because he's just I was waiting for it.
I was not gonna do that. I can do that. I found the guy. I was just looking through the profile of the guy who replied to Victoryroad's tweet about the top 8 players in San Juan, who said, "San Juan?" Thinking emoji. Isn't it Puerto Rico?
Good point. Good. Oh my god. So Kenneth Gamboa, how high did they finish? I can't remember.
They finished top 8. You want to talk about the top 4 teams first? I know you're excited to talk
we have
about
one of them.
We do have a Dice Runner team in top 4.
What was the other?
Patrick tweeted his team out.
Oh, right. I might have to go track that.
And he has a rental code, so we can actually talk about his team too.
Can you grab a link for me and put it in Discord, Adi?
I can't.
I'll talk about the other team in the meantime, which is from Vijay, who was running the same team from, I think, San Antonio. Is that where you pulled this one?
This is Merida.
Merida. Okay, from Merida. Here we go.
That being said, I don't think Vijay has changed his team substantially in the last 2 years. So it was a pretty safe bet. I'm not 100% sure it's the same team.
The same team from San Diego, 2023. Anyways, yeah. There's a lot of whack Pokemon here. I would not be surprised if it was just like the same Tinkaton every single time. I'd have to go back and check. Maybe it's not always Assault Vest, and maybe it's not always Terra Ground. But Tinkaton's like always there, and I think so is Sylveon. Just really committed to the bit. Like, I don't know. I think that nobody is more of a Pokemon protagonist than Vijay, because like you're just running the Pokemon, the friends that you made along the way, and you might catch some different Pokemon and like get really sad when you send them off to Professor Oak, but like you stick with your OGs and carry them through you format to format. Like that's like the Ash Ketchum like protag mentality basically is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, this team was actually a little scary to play against because I did play against VJ in top 4. Obviously, it looks like a little bit of a joke on paper, and to an extent, maybe you could argue that it is. But that Terapagos applies a lot of immediate offensive pressure with choice specs, and a lot of your typical response to that hyper offensive choice specs is like think about Incineroar or Rillaboom or Amoonguss. Well, you can't do that because if they lead Zapdos, then you just get deleted instantly. And that was something that I had to think a lot about when I was thinking about how I wanted to approach this matchup. And I deduced that I had to just use Roaring Moon to knock off the choice specs and then just sort of just play from there and see what happened. But no, I think if you hit your matchups, and he probably did, that Terapagos has hands. You might be asking, well, how do you not play as Zamazenta? The answer is I played them all. 6 out of my 11 sets this weekend were Zamazenta.
That's awesome.
So I beat all the Zamazenta for him so that he could make it to top 4.
Let's go. That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember someone else told me that VJ did not want to fight me in finals.
Wow, that's a big surprise that Specs Terapagos doesn't want to face against Zamazenta. Like, this is the one that bothers me, is that like this Terapagos doesn't even like pretend that it wants to beat Zamazenta. Like the other ones, like they will struggle and work hard through like 85 turns as they set up their Calm Minds and they pivot to their redirections and fake outs. This one, I understand Flamethrower and Earth Power hit Zamazenta super effectively, but like, do you really want to click those moves? No.
Well, no. So you're not seeing the vision. It actually does have the same answer, and that is you can Thunderous Kick it with your Zapdos, and then it loses its defense boost, and it no longer KOs you with Body Press. It's just that simple.
That Zapdos hit surprisingly hard.
That's awesome.
Did a lot of damage to my Kyogre. I think Brave Bird did like 75% or something crazy. It was scary.
Yeah, you can't lower its damage with your conventional means, so that is really, really funny. Okay, the other team, I already lost it here. Patrick's team. So, because, yeah, honestly, I would talk more about this one. It sounds stupid to say, but we have seen it before. If you've been following the history, this team has been around, but not in the meta. Maybe just one specific person. All right, so Pat's team here. This one is featuring Cali Ice, Rain, and it's not exactly the same 6 from the Nats win. We got only 4 of the same 6 here. Bolt, Ursh, Pelly, and Calyrex. But even those Pokemon have some changes within their move sets. This is now a Covert Cloak Pelly. We've got Amoonguss and Lando here now. Terra Poison on the Ice Rider. Is there a relevant Jody tweet that I need to pull up?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was a banger tweet.
He used his own Pelipper. It's pretty great.
Oh, that is so sick. Patrick's Pelipper. I mean, like, I think I would have to be locked in, or like I would have to use my own Pokemon at the next tournament, even if it's like super bad, because like there's just no way. Obviously, Pelipper's still doing fine in this current metagame. So, but like I feel like I would just be locked in. There would be no other choice for me. I would have to use Pelipper if like I could have my own Pokemon sent out like that. That is just too sick. Crazy cool.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool, and I mean, I think this is it's an interesting take. It's a little different than the obviously, like you said, a little different from the team he ran with Rillaboom in the past. But I really like it, and I think that if I were going to San Juan, I would have probably brought a team similar to this. Partially because I think that Pelipper Cali Ice is a really strong meta call right now, but also partially because last year it was won by a Koraidon, and when you're talking about a relatively small event, a relatively small pool of local players, you can kind of get a grasp on what people are running. And so if I expected there to be some of the stronger players to be Koraidon players, I would definitely try to counter that a little bit.
Did
Yeah, I
y'all
want to talk
play
about
Koraidon?
dodging matchups.
Oh, go ahead.
My first 3 rounds. So basically, like the one matchup I did not want to play was Koraidon. Koraidon is like 80-20 at best for that specific Kyogre. Like Tornogre is obviously pretty easy, but without Rain Dance, it becomes very difficult. My first 3 rounds, I'm not joking. I looked to my left while I was playing, and I watched a Koraidon player lose. And that just was my motivation. Like, okay, just keep winning, and you don't have to play that guy. 3 rounds in a row, I looked to my left and I saw a Koraidon, and I was like, this can't be real life. Like, I have to keep winning. So I just thought that was interesting.
That is so funny. Eric, did you play against any Koraidon?
I did play against a Koraidon, and I did manage to win. It was very close. It came down to a Raging Bolt speed tie in game 3, and I speed tie.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was a max speed Assault Vest Raging Bolt, and I think the guy who was running it did pretty well. He went I think he went 7-1 in Swiss. It was Sam Pletcher.
And then he lost to Patrick Cotters in top 16. Which is why you run the team.
Yeah, his only loss in Swiss. So yeah, I think just like having the rain mode on Zamazenta is like really nice for the Sun teams, because like normally with Zamazenta, like you're just hoping that you're not going to run into Koraidon.
I'm a very big fan of Pelipper right now. It's just an incredibly good supporter in the metagame, and not too bad of a offensive Pokemon too. Water for Incineroar, flying for Urshifu Rillaboom. It's still got great coverage, so yeah, this Pokemon's in a pretty solid spot. I mean, obviously the lack of stats is there. It's got a pretty poor speed tier, but even then, the priority moves that it can click to make itself relevant if its speed is lackluster really make up for it. Wide Guard, Helping Hand, it's got options that it can use to make its presence felt. Then we have Kenneth's team here. I don't have a ton to say about Kenneth's team besides it being, the water version of the team Juan Salerno won Rio with, so we've kind of seen this one before. Are there any other teams from this tournament that we should be mentioning? I don't know. What was the wildest team that you guys played? If it's just, again, the one against Mario, then I guess maybe that we already got to know what the coolest teams to come out of this tournament are. But yeah, was there anything else noteworthy that you can think of that did well enough at the tournament?
There was a guy running. I'll let you go first.
Right, Eric,
so I played Sam Pletcher, and I know there was a tweet about this. I don't know if I can like find the tweet right now.
Right.
But he was running the Koraidon team, but he had Brute Bonnet. He had a Armarouge with Power Herb and Meteor Beam.
Let's go.
And,
okay.
Yeah. He had a max speed Assault Vest, Raging Bolt, and it like Life Orb, Terrastellar, Fluttermane. It was really scary to go up against, to be honest.
Nobody asked Eric what speed his Raging Bolt is. There's no reason that he knows that all these other Raging Bolts are max speed. He's actually max speed -1 just to find out, just to check. Be like, you're faster than me? Of course. Of course. Another one. Yeah. Adi, this picture is so grainy. I love it.
This went like semi-viral. It's got 1,000
names.
likes.
Oh, I see. You're right. It does have 1,000. Oh my god. No, not the Rizzler. Oh god.
I mean, he went 7-1 with it, so.
And we talk about this format getting very stale, but I think that, and I've been saying this for literally the last 6 months probably, but I think Koraidon teams are one of the teams that have a lot of room to innovate. They have a lot of very cool options because of all these Paradox Pokemon that can really take advantage of its ability, all the Pokemon that could take advantage of Sun, and it feels like that's where some of the, we saw ESM's team from San Antonio Regionals where he went 8-3. It was also a very cool take on Koraidon that's sort of similar, also trying to abuse like Brute Bonnet, for example, and Raging Bolt and Fluttermane. But so I think that, it's cool to see people innovate on Koraidon. That's one of the few teams that I think has a lot of room for people to, a lot of flexibility for people to try to adapt it for whatever the metagame looks like.
Yeah, I think one big takeaway, not just from this event, but also from Merida, one thing I want to also mention is that there was a guy, I believe top 8, he played Patrick in top 8, who was running Marcus's Zamazenta team from Merida with the Dark Urshifu with goggles.
Yep.
And I think one thing that we're starting to see is that the Zamazenta teams are sort of adapting in real time to a lot of the more generic balanced answers, like having a Terragrass Mon plus another Goggles Mon. It's sort of like they're slowly starting to adapt to teams that rely on instant Amoonguss to beat Zamazenta. My team included. That was just having a Goggles Pokemon alongside Zamazenta is really difficult to deal with if your answer is instant Amoonguss, and that is going to be your Kyogre teams, your Terapagos teams. I know when I was playing Terapagos, especially, like I didn't even bring Terapagos into Zamazenta. It was instant Amoonguss, and then just pray that Chien-Pao will do enough damage in the late game. But I think Zamazenta is pretty well positioned right now into what is supposed to be a balanced heavy meta for EUIC.
Dude, another point against Terapagos. If I have to bench my restricted, I'm getting a new one. Like, come on. Like, what am I doing here? I got nothing good to say about the turtle. All right. So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but Hunter, I don't know if you answered and if you had a different answer. Was there anything else like insane, crazy at the tournament that you thought was like stand out? Any other team?
My round 1, I played a Weezing CSR with, I believe, a Ting Lu, but it wasn't. It didn't reach like a notable placing, so I don't remember too much else about it.
Right. Well,
but everything else was pretty standard. Like most of my matchup.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, most of my games were. It was sort of like your ideal tournament run, where it was just every single round you sit down, you look at the team sheet, and you go, "Yes, I've played this on ladder like 50 times. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do." There really wasn't anything crazy until I played Mario in day 2, where I had to improvise a lot, which was a lot of fun, and VJ obviously. But outside of those, like it was all stuff I'd seen before, stuff I was prepped for, and it was like your ideal tournament run. Like all my Swiss rounds, at the very least, like I felt like I was just playing well, I was well prepared, I wasn't missing Origin Pulse, and then as cut started, that's when my play started to get worse, and variants started saving my ass.
So I pulled this one up because I wanted to ask about it. Ben Grismer tweeted something like, "It's been 6.5 hours. We played 4 rounds. Why are we having a break at 5 p.m.?" So yeah, tell us about because I haven't been to any special events since Cancun in 2019. It's been a long time. They're a very different experience than going to a regional. How was the event run, and how was your experience overall?
Yeah, so I can start, but when I signed up, because I signed up a little bit earlier, they sent out an email that said to be in the venue by 11. But like just like because that's when the tournament starts. But they didn't. I think they just changed it to 12, but didn't update the email. So like a bunch of people like showed up at like 10 o'clock, and we're just there for like 3 hours because when 12 o'clock came around, they didn't start it until about 1. And I asked like one of the judges about it, and they said like, "Oh, we have a lot of team sheet errors, and that's why it's taking so long." And yeah, it just felt like every round like just went like a really long time, and yeah, we ended up having like a 1.5 hour break, and when that was over, we were sitting there for another 30 minutes. And when they finally started, like half of the tables just started applauding. It took way too long, in my opinion. And yeah, we didn't like I went out with my friends to grab some dinner after the tournament, and I didn't get back until like almost midnight.
Yikes. And wait, so day 1, how many rounds was it?
It was 6 rounds with a lunch break. Honestly, the rounds themselves were not that like they weren't long because of something the TO. Like like round 1, I was sitting next to Patrick in the bleachers, and we saw like Gudra. That was the last table to finish. So like it wasn't all on the TO, but I'm a big hater when it comes to lunch breaks. If the venue is selling food, you don't need a lunch break. There's always going to be that one table that takes way too long to finish. You're going to have 10 minutes to go get a hot dog or something. So I'm a big lunch break hater. I don't think they're needed. Like for juniors and seniors, sure you can have them, but like no one has played a regional where they haven't had 20 minutes between when they finish their match and when the next round starts. Especially with how big these events are now, with how many people they have. Like in an 800-person tournament, that round is going to be like an hour long. It doesn't matter. Like you have time to get food in between.
Yeah, it does feel like at least one game is going to go to time every round or something like that. So,
yeah.
And there's also disconnects.
True.
Honestly, I kind of disagree, and I don't disagree in this situation specifically, because it sounds like you started after lunch and you had your lunch break at dinner time. But normally I actually when we only have 8 rounds, we're getting out of the venue by like 6 o'clock most of the time at regionals. Getting out that early, like it's not a bad thing by any means, but it does make it hard to get like a real meal in between rounds. And I really like having a nice lunch. And sometimes I've had the chance to literally go back to my hotel room if my hotel is right next to the venue, and like take a shower in between rounds, kind of reset, which is always really nice. And so I actually really like having a break in the middle of the day, especially when we only have 8 rounds. We get done at a very reasonable time. We get done, but like before I would normally have dinner anyways. And so I actually quite like having a lunch break. Although again, this situation specifically where, so in general, right? If it's a 6-round tournament and you start out at like 9 a.m. like a normal tournament would, then it's not all that bad to have a lunch break instead of making you play until 3 and then letting you out for 3. But yeah, when you start at 1 o'clock, then I obviously don't think that a lunch break is very necessary.
I think what ended up happening is because of the venue change, there were probably a lot of things that got lost in translation from the original email. They were very responsive. Like if you found the WhatsApp number on their website and you messaged them, they would get back to you within like 5 to 10 minutes. But it wasn't like the most obvious. And obviously, if you're in the US, chances are you don't use WhatsApp. That's more of like a Latin America type thing. But it was kind of weird. I'm sure, we don't know what happened behind the scenes, so I'm not going to like complain. There's always going to be issues when you're running a tournament, something unexpected happens. They were running all age divisions, both VG and TCG at the same time. So I'm sure they had stuff going on. I'm not going to be too picky about that. But I think the lunch break for a 6-round tournament was like a little unnecessary. But I really don't have that many issues with how the tournament was run itself. All the staff were kind. They knew what they were doing. Overall, I would go back. I liked it. Obviously, being from Florida, the weather was very similar. It felt like I was at home, but obviously some hiccups here and there. But that's the case at most regionals as well.
I mean, you said you'd go back, but this is already you're going back, right? Because you went to the previous one, right? Too.
I went to 23, but not 24.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I got it mixed up. But anyways, though, I don't know if there's any other things. I'm looking through the chat here. If there's any other things that we wanted to talk about San Juan. I know that we're moving a little bit fast here, but yeah, without all the teams, we're gonna have to make do with what we got. And yeah, regardless, though, very solid finish from you both here. And wait, I guess the next topic would be just the EUIC. Which is a little bit fast, but I don't know. We can always go back to talk about VR. Go ahead, Audie.
Maybe we actually have time to do the Calc is right this time.
We might have time to do the Calc is right. That's true. Let's go ahead and start talking about EUIC, and then if we get distracted by any tangents, feel free. Lunch breaks was a solid tangent, but I didn't have a ton to weigh in on that subject because I am a little privileged in that my wife comes with me to most every event. And so like, I would be like, I don't need a lunch break because my wife usually grabs lunch because she's not playing in the tournament. So like, that's like just have somebody there at the tournament for you to get food. Like that's not reasonable for most people. Very privileged take. So anyways, let's talk about EUIC. We had the preview for it, the preview image. It's got lost somewhere over here. But yes, is 6 reasons to go to London. I couldn't figure out how to display hanging out with your friends, and so unfortunately we have beans here. It was supposed to be that I would not be excited to go to London. I feel like we've gone to London for the past several years. I don't know who at this point is still like going to London, like, oh, I gotta go to London to tour London. We've if you've been playing VGC for a couple of years now, you've seen London, probably. Maybe not everybody. I can't speak for everybody, of course. If you're a serious competitor, I guess. But yes, we've got championship points, prize money, glory, or whatever. Regulation G, if you're a big fan of Regulation G, because for some people, that is enough reason to go to this tournament, is that they just love Reg G. I know, big thumbs down. And they've also got some
say, all of your reasons are wrong. Every single one of them, except for maybe championship points. None of those are very compelling reasons, because one, don't want to play Regulation G.
I feel you.
That is like British food. I mean, that is not it. I mean, I do not. I'm not.
None of these are supposed to be that good reasons. That's the point of it.
I told this to you before the stream. That's not even like the highlight. The tourist attraction is not the tourist attraction in London. I don't even know what bridge that is. Is that the London Bridge?
That's the tower one, right? The London Bridge is like the unimpressive flat one.
Okay.
Which I don't know if it's. I think it's this way. I think it's over here. Anyways, London.
Oh man. So Alex, what are your favorite things to do in London? For anyone who hasn't gone yet.
I've gone several times, so I should have some things. I will say that on the subject of food, getting a Sunday, what was it called? Something. You go to a bar and you get just like a bunch of like British food, or a pub, whatever they call it there. You can get some really bad Indian food. Adi and I did that. I think he said it was the worst Indian food he's ever gotten, and I got to be there for it, so that was really cool.
Dude, me and Sohaib were the two brown people in that group, and we were apologizing the entire time. Like, yo, y'all know this is not Indian food, right? Like, you can do.
that was quite amusing.
Our whole Airbnb group went out for Indian, and it was actually really good. Then again, we weren't really staying close to the venue. We were like, we kind of lived like a couple stops down on the Elizabeth line.
Yeah, honestly, we were like in a residential neighborhood, pretty far away from the venue. We were in an Airbnb, and the Airbnb host left us like a few restaurants in the area they recommended. That's why we went there. It was really bad, but London is a really big city, and it's got chefs from all over the world. It does have really good Indian food in London. Just not every Indian restaurant is very good, apparently.
On that subject,
they're collecting those commission fees.
Go ahead. True. They're like, send them our way. Anyways, though, it's a very big city, and on that subject, I do think one of the most important things is probably just like familiarize yourself and don't be afraid of the public transport. Like, you don't have to be right next to the venue and always around the venue at all times. If you're going to London, you can very easily get to different places. If you honestly, like, you don't even have to learn it that much. Like, our phones do it all nowadays. They just tell you to like get on this stop, and they'll tell you exactly where that stop is and what stop to get off at, and you're just like, it's just super easy. Public transport there is really good, and so you can go to all kinds of different places to explore. In terms of that, like, there's probably a lot of good gardens and some of like the classic sites like Big Ben or the bridges. You can always go around to those. But yeah, I got some all right food there. I did go to London, I think 3 times, and I was just like, I don't need to go for a 4th time. And now that was me last year. This is now a 5th time, and so I'm just like, it's just not exciting to me.
Yeah. I feel like we went to like a couple of the English pubs and the food's so like mid. It's like they'll give you like a lime on the side, and that's like the only flavor. It's so bland. I don't know how people do it over there, but
it's all like they know.
Like I don't understand it.
Yep.
Yeah. The one thing I got to study abroad in London while I was in college, and the one thing I really loved about the city, other than the public transport, which also is just a huge highlight, love being able to go anywhere without a car, without calling expensive Ubers. But number one thing I loved is going to soccer matches. I went to like 4 or 5 while I was there, and so yeah, if you get knocked out and you have a Saturday free, go to a Premier League game if you can get tickets to to one of the games. I know, like, actually, it might be hard to get some of these tickets. They're usually not very easy to get, but yeah, soccer matches are my favorite part. And one of my favorite dishes in London, in England, is the like meat pies that you get. That's one of the very few things that I think actually tastes quite good and is a very authentic British experience as compared to something that you are better off getting in another country that they stole it from.
True. Bring it back to some of the VGC elements of this this whole thing. So this is going to be the biggest tournament in VGC history, I believe. Does anybody have the number handy in the chat? If anybody's attending, please do let me know. I thought it was like in the 1400s or something like that.
Yeah, RK9 was like 1440, 1450 across all age divisions. So I'm not sure what the age distribution is usually like for some of these bigger events, but
for sure,
depending on that, there may be a realistic chance that we hit a kicker for top 512 CP, whatever that number is.
Yeah, and I think they've been like really good about like giving out refunds for people who want to cancel. And I think that's going to help a lot in terms of like, opening up more slots for people who are able to attend. Because I think that has been an issue with some of the tournaments from earlier in the season.
Yeah.
I do want to double check. Are either of you two going?
No.
Yes.
I booked.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have a non-refundable flight that has been paid for, so I'm committed.
Why unfortunately? All right, hold on. I know that hold on, let me pull up the picture. I know that this doesn't mean anything anymore, but these two very much do. You could you're if you're coming off of a hot finish, you could definitely earn your flight back by just doing well in the tournament. So you have that going for you, and I don't know, I mean, ultimately, who doesn't love a trophy or a bit of glory and recognition? There's always that to compete for too.
And on top of that, even a mediocre finish, a top of your, I think you got top 32 at Merida, on top, and you won this event. If you get some points, you might be getting a travel award to the North American Championships as well.
I did the math. When does the cutoff end for that travel award? Because I believe I'm going to be
EUIC.
Oh, okay. So then maybe I did the math. I think I'm like somewhere around 10th once those points come in. So maybe it's possible. It's a pretty tight race though once you get that high up. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, just do well at that tournament because, yeah, this is the last tournament that's going to count for it, as well as any locals if somebody isn't going to EUIC but is going to a local this weekend, I guess. But anyways, yeah, huge tournament. It's still smaller than Newark. Are you talking about some boomer shit in the chat, Jimmy? What is this? Newark with 1551.
That includes juniors and seniors, like.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't even have Masters. Sure. Nah, all right. I'm calling it the biggest tournament of the modern era. Whatever. Like this old one, it wasn't even like VGC then, even though it was VGC. If it's after I started VGC, it's not VGC. Or before I started VGC, it's not VGC. I determine when VGC started.
Right.
Okay.
VGC started in 2023.
It's a very recent thing. Okay. What else is there to talk about for this one, though? It's at the typical same old convention center. Casters.
If we get the numbers that we're talking about, if we get over 1,000, I think 25 players, we have two things that are a little different. Obviously, you mentioned the top 512 getting points, so you can get 80 points. But also, it means we get an additional round of Day 2 Swiss. So we might be looking at 4 rounds in Day 2 instead of 3 like we've been having for most of our events in North America and Europe. So we'd go all the way to 12 rounds total. And then, of course, still have the asymmetrical top 8 plus cut, which is still probably top 32.
I was going to say, is that like still a top 32 cut then? Probably,
I think like so.
The between 16-32 range that we've been seeing at these tournaments.
Is it not capped at 32? Is it able to go higher if there's enough people?
It is capped at 32. But I think also because of the 12th round, it actually might be a smaller top cut than normal.
Because we're probably just barely passing the threshold then.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What is the threshold for that one? Does it show on this page? I don't know if it does. I don't know. But yeah, we got our casters. We got... it looks like it's going to be run by a lot of the EU team from the from a glance, Charlie, Ben, Lou, Lee, and then Sierra, who is going to be going across the pond, as they say, to join them. Maybe doing the what, I don't know. They always have like one of the hosts now. They're like pretty consistent with that part now. But yeah, good stream to be watching. It'll be a lot of fun for the people not attending. As much fun as watching Reg G can be, but this is gonna be like, you know, the highest tier competition we've seen in quite a while, so that's really exciting. Again, just such a big tournament, so much prestige behind it. I think that it's just like really fun. We talked about this I think last week, but I think Wolf has won the last 2 like biggest tournaments of all time, maybe the last 3. I don't remember which number it was, but like he just keeps winning them. I don't know if he's actually attending this one or not. He already has his Worlds invites. That part's like kind of confusing to me. He definitely could go if he wanted or not. And then, you know, he'd definitely be a name to watch out for. We'll be talking about that when we get to our smart money for picking who we think is going to be actually going all the way in this thing. But yeah, this is definitely a really sick tournament to be spectating, I think, in my opinion. Even if you don't like Reg G, I think it's still going to be sick.
Yeah. Alex, are we going to be doing a rewatch, or I don't think either of us are waking up in time to actually watch the start of the tournament because it's in Europe. But
Dude,
normally for EU events,
it would be
do a
staying
rewatch.
Over on the West Coast.
I mean, hey, if you want to do the first 4 rounds, then I can do the next 4 rounds. We can do the entire thing.
I start the stream at like 1 a.m. for my time, and then you pick it up at like 4 a.m. or something. Like, or wait, I don't actually know. 4 a.m. is 1 a.m. Never mind, 7. Yeah.
No, like the thing is, I don't think it's worth the restreaming if we're competing against the official stream, which is also in English and usually is quite good. But watching it afterwards, and what I like about watching it afterwards as well is that, God, I do not want to be up at like 4 a.m. Waiting for the 30 minutes in between rounds 5 and 6. Like that just sounds miserable. And so, whereas watching afterwards, you can put it at 1.5 speed and you can skip the breaks in between rounds. And I think you get done with the full like 8-round event in something like 3 to 4 hours, and it's really not too bad. So we might do that. We'll see. Like I said, I really don't want to watch Reg G, but if people want to see it, then we can definitely do it.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the unfortunate thing. Oh.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that's one of the unfortunate things that the broadcast has to deal with is there's just an indiscrete amount of time between matches. Like if they decide to stream like a 2-0, the next match isn't on for like another 50 minutes. So how do you keep the audience for 50 minutes without there being any gameplay? That just seems like a common theme that they struggle with. I know they do their best with filler content, but I'm just not coming back till the next game starts.
Unfortunately, that is the reality for most people. But they've been doing really good to try to put different activities in there in the in-between sections to fill the time. I love a good classic trivia one. Of course, you can only do so much trivia, but some of the trivia ones they've done cool. They've done a lot of art competitions and stuff like that. Those are all pretty good to watch, all pretty fun.
Something I think that they could do more of, I can't remember if they've done this in the past or not, but just like take a match. It couldn't, even if it's like from the last tournament, not even from the current one, just like have someone like Aaron Zhang just like break down a match and explain like a couple of turns just to like get people more into the analytical side of the game. I feel like that would keep people engaged.
They actually debuted that segment at San Antonio, I think. I remember watching a bit of that stream, and Joe Brown was leading that one. Him and Len were basically just like going through a set that happened. It might have been the set that just happened, and so I don't know if it worked super well because like you also just watched it. It was like a set from that tournament, but they went down. They went and did like a more serious breakdown than more of a live casting, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. Shout outs to the stream team for doing all that they're doing to figure out ways to fill the stream with as much content as they can, especially during the dead times.
Yeah, they have done such a much better job of filling up the dead time. And I'm really sorry to say that I still did not watch the dead time.
I mean, yes, of course. I'm not gonna.
At least they're trying.
They did a really good job, but I do skip through it. Some of the segments seem really interesting. But no, I love the idea of like having like a breakdown of the games. I think Nerd of Now also talked about, one of the reasons why I like to watch the games afterwards is because commentating games live is really hard. It's so difficult when I've tried it. And just because like when you're playing Pokemon, it is difficult to understand everything that is going on and to figure out what the best play is. And you are thinking your brain is working on overload, trying to like figure out the best play. So to do that on like a superficial level, it just does not, you do not really give the depth to a lot of these situations that they deserve. And so it's just a very descriptive analysis. You're just saying what happened, which is not really providing anything. We are watching the event where we can see what happened. And so doing good commentary and providing like insight is very difficult while you're watching live. And why I like watching it afterwards is then I can pause on interesting turns and I can really take more than 45 seconds to fully understand the game state and fully like figure out what is going on, what I should be doing, what the game plans are. And I can also rewind and try to understand, exactly what actually is happening, or exactly why a player made a play, because they these players, they're looking at these games, they're focusing on these games way more than I am when I'm just watching it live on stream. And so they're making plays that are only going to pay off or 2 or 3 turns in the future when you see the end game and you're like, oh, that's why they had to get chip damage on, because they wanted to get this situation later in the game. You can do that, and then you can rewind and you can kind of understand how the game actually played out. And so I really like doing that when I'm watching afterwards, and I would love it if they tried to implement some of that on stream after the match, where they really broke it down a little more in depth.
Adi is doing a very good job of advertising for us rewatching it this weekend. I understand that he's just constantly on the grind.
That's exactly
somebody said it in the chat, and honestly, I feel like they did do this like forever ago. They may not have the equipment for it, but it would be really cool if they like just recorded another match that happened that round and then just like aired that during the round downtime, and just like had the casters go and talk about that match, whether or not they did it at the real speed or not. Like, I mean, I guess they probably would never speed it up because I don't know. Regardless, though, it would be it'd be interesting if that we got to see like there's so much Pokemon happening on the weekend. It's always like really sad when there's like 2 very good matches happening at the same time and you only get to watch one on stream. Stick that other one on like some kind of like recording device, record it and watch it and play that during the between time. If everyone's there to just watch games, put on games that would otherwise be lost to time. Japan.
That's actually something.
Yeah.
That's actually something they did at the Puerto Rico special event. They had what they called a backup stream, where they would have like the main stream, and then they would have another match play on a setup like 5 feet away. So if the first match finished like 2-0, then they could just start streaming the other 2 people on stage and sort of switch over. So that's actually something that I'd never seen before. And I thought was actually a really good idea, especially with the resources that actual TOs doing regionals have. I don't see why we don't have something like that.
They did this back in the day, and I was like on one of these like backup streams for like the official Pokemon streams at Nats. I don't remember how exactly that one would work. They would pull it up if the match ended early. Yeah, see, Jimmy's backing me up here. He remembers it. I don't know when from when to when they did this and why exactly they stopped. I think the main thing is that it's like it is probably a bit of a cost to have all the equipment for a second setup. But I'm just wanting something that's like not even luxurious at all, because like this was like I was basically still on stage, like face cams and everything. I think they just need to like stick 2 people into like a table backstage that just has the recording devices for the switches. Like that's it. That's all you need. Just record the match. Tell me who's playing what sides. You put the names there, and I'm there for it. This is exactly the kind of content I need. But I don't know. It's not that simple, of course. Otherwise, they'd be doing it. Or maybe they're still figuring out how to set it up. Go ahead, Adi.
You can do it even easier. We have side TVs at NAIC, so I assume at EUIC normally they have side TVs as well. I haven't actually ever been to EUIC, so I can't confirm that. But at an internet, for those who haven't attended, you not only have the mainstream setup where most people are sitting, but also just outside of the competitors area, there are 4 TVs that are playing matches that are happening on and they in fact tell you, they pick out matches to put on those side TVs to tell you to get those matches displayed to other viewers. And usually it's very exciting. Usually Jimmy is out there, Team Rocket Elite is out there recording that. You can check out his YouTube channel if you want to see some of the matches that were never streamed live. the world's top 4 match that was on Tub Nation between MDB and was it Fede, I think, was also on a side TV, for example. And they're already connected those, like they already have a box that is recording that and putting it on a TV. Surely they can also hook that box up to give it a second output that they can switch to whenever they want to, right? Like it surely shouldn't be that difficult to do. It's one more wire, I think, right? So I figured they can do that pretty easily if they really wanted to.
Right.
Sometimes those side streams are more entertaining than the main one because you just get to hear everyone's reactions, and it feels a bit more genuine. Maybe not genuine, but like it feels more real.
That's very much like the locals feel, like a small like locals where like everyone's huddled around watching the finals matchup or something like that, and everyone's excited for this match. That's it definitely, like you said, more personal because we're not all seated in our chairs watching the big screen. You're watching a smaller screen. Everyone's really crowded together. There's not enough chairs for everybody there, so people are standing. I don't know. That vibe is pretty incredible, especially when they set it up so that you can watch multiple games at once and you can watch the mainstream. That's always the place to be.
All right, let's go ahead. Thing that I've, because you said I'm allowed to go on tangents, so oh man, you got me going. The one thing that I know I really thought about at Worlds, because we were just like streaming the top 4 match. I wonder if someone could literally just be like, okay, I'm just going to sit next to the side streams and put a camera there and live stream every one side stream match every single round. Just like some content creator, like, I mean, literally put it on. If someone wants to do it, we can put it on Tub Nation for all I care, right? Like, and it really gives you the no real commentary, but it gives you the vibes. It gives you the crowd noise. It really feels like you're at the event. And I was thinking about doing that. If I get knocked out of day 1 of NAIC, maybe I do it for day 2 or something like that. But yeah, I think that's a fun idea that I'm surprised no one has ever tried. I don't know how amenable TPCI would be to it, but they let us stream the world's top 4 match, so I don't know if
they haven't really arrested us yet.
I think the issue would just be like getting enough equipment and cameras to film all of them at the same time.
Right.
But
just one. Just pick one. Just get a phone cam.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's just kind of the same way that everybody votes on which match to go on stream. You have your little Twitch chat vote which TV to record. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Anyways, though, we've been doing EUIC since 2016. It looks like I have the cutoff here at 2017. Still pretty far back, a little bit farther back than it probably should be.
No, that is the first one. That is in 2016, but it was the first event.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I do have the earliest one here. Okay, so I do. It looks like I have every EUIC in history here. Then, let's go ahead and talk about some of the players that have done well at these and some of the names to watch out for potentially this weekend, as we're going to be picking our smart money at the end of it. So we've gone through this one last year, but I'm just double checking to see like some of the names that I expect to be in attendance. Ben, I think we saw Ben's commentating, right? Sure enough, yeah, Ben. It's always good though when you see a commentator who has had results in the past. That's always fun. It's like all right, well they know their stuff. They were pretty strong. What was their peak? And it's like Ben was a menace back then. So, looking at some of these other names, Nils will pop up later. Nils is a name to watch out for, and Wolf is honestly a big question mark for me. I have not heard people saying if he is or isn't going. Again, it's such a weird spot because does he really not want to win the biggest tournament again? That was his YouTube title for those 2 tournaments is he won the biggest tournament in VGC history, and now they're doing another biggest tournament in VGC history, so he has to go win it. But he already has his Worlds invite for this season, so it's kind of a tricky thing. He could easily just take this one off.
I would bet on him going just because it's a cheap flight from DC. There's a lot of money to win. It's good for his YouTube channel.
Exactly.
I would be surprised if he didn't go, but he's been keeping it very close to the vest about whether he's going to these events or not this season. Maybe because all of his teams got leaked last time when he was more public about that.
Does kind of keep happening.
Sense.
Okay, then Gomez here, and yeah, we're starting to get down to like top 32. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull us over to the next one.
This event was also very interesting, I believe, because it capped, and there were just like not there were so many people who flew out to London who could not get a spot in this event.
Yep.
Alex, I don't know if you were. I was not playing at this time. I've heard stories about this from players who were, but I don't know if you had anything to add about that.
No, I don't remember. I remember that happening at the next. Or are you talking about the next one?
Was it the next one? I thought it was the first one.
I know of this happening at the next one. I was in attendance at this one. I didn't do too hot. But I was here, and I remember it might have been like Chuppa or something. I thought Chuppa was one of these players that, you know, was in the travel award race or something like that, and, you know, literally was just hoping to be able to get into the tournament but could not. It seems like, you know, and it's funny because this number is so much smaller than the one we're working with, like 1,000 more players than this 2017 number, and this is back, like, you know, we just didn't think we could be hitting numbers so big. But I mean, London obviously a very central location, so many people wanting to be attending this tournament. It's crazy how much we are growing. I mean, that part is just kind of an awesome thing to mention. But yeah, Sanvi is doing pretty hot. He actually, you know, I think I would have a good idea of what he's bringing to the tournament. He tweeted out about how, like, you know, Arubega Miraidon, the standard Miraidon builds, like, he's like, you know, nothing could actually stop this. He ended up, you know, getting knocked out by it, I believe, in the VR tournament when we were looking at that one. Here he is using it, so probably going to be in attendance here. Gomez again. Carson's not doing this one. Not that I remember hearing. So yeah, actually, you know, we talked about this last week. About, like, you know, who in Tub, you know, of our personal group is going, and I went to check who I was seeing if we had like a travel channel for it, Audi, in Tub, and we don't. They didn't even make one, so it's very disorganized. And so we just ended up like tagging a bunch of random people. In terms of like people from Tub that I know are going, like, I think Chuppa is going, I think Jody, I think Burns.
Yep. Is Z going?
And but I don't. Maybe I haven't heard about that one or not. Yeah, and
you
then
might
there's
be able to
European...
tell that Tub is not very active in Reg G. We have really not been playing this format very much.
It's true. It's true. Reg G is not very enticing. Let's see other names here. Pato did have a big, like, sponsor tweet the other day. I'm sure some people saw that one. He was just like saying Precipice Blades. It was a very amusing one. Okay, a bit of a funny one there. Nils again. I guess that's a name to watch out for. And yeah, all right. Oh, yo, Ray Rizzo. Hold on, is Ray going? That's my smart money.
Good question. Ray, of course, this was when his brief comeback into VGC, where he did so well at like every single tournament he attended at the very end of 2017. Of course, as you can see, made day 2 of EUIC, got the travel award too. I believe OCIC was the next one. And then just decided to go cast it instead of play it because he didn't like the 2018 format.
It was the best. I mean, I need somebody to pull up the "Stop at Nothing" meme for me, but Ray Rizzo, he, you know, stopped qualifying for Worlds at a certain point, and every year people would hype up his potential return if he even so briefly hinted at it. And in this year, he was competing in 2017, and like Adi said, he was on a bit of a tear. And the World's invite bar was like 500, I think, 500 championship points. He got to like 470 and then just stopped attending tournaments. He just didn't bother getting his World's invite. He easily could have finished it out, but he just didn't care. It's just so sad, dude. He stole a travel award spot. I mean, it's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know. Next up, though, we have a bit of a jump here. Am I missing one?
Yeah. Wait, why was there no events between where's 2019? That one did actually happen.
I feel like oh, wait. You know what? I don't have the one that's not in London.
You do. 2018 was not in London. Was it not?
Yeah, but I don't think I
never mind. It was.
Oh wait, no, this is 2022.
This one's not in London. But 2019 was also not in London. That one That was the X-Ray tournament, right? I know.
Wait, where was it? Is it not in London?
That must have been Frankfurt.
Oh, it was the other one. It was Berlin.
Berlin, maybe.
Okay, Berlin.
Oh God, who knows?
Yeah. I put the 2019 one in the. Okay, I got it.
I got it here, but thank you.
Yeah.
X-Ray, the only time X-Ray did well in all of 2019. It fell off a cliff immediately, but Puerto won that one.
And we see David Carrera. I haven't seen his name around recently, so I'm not 100% sure if he's still playing, but he's popped up in a couple of these. He's a very strong European player. But yeah, I just don't know if he's still very active.
No, he's still active.
Okay. Well, then another name to watch out for. Wolf again. Chemo. Oh, Chemo's going to this one. Chemo and Colin, I think maybe are both going to this one. And in terms of like top people, then looking through here again, Gomez, Rios, who I think we spoiled because we went a bit out of order. But yes, Rios, and let's see.
Yeah, this was also the second event of Ultra Series. So much like we had the first ever event in 2017, EUIC is a lot more fun when it's one of the early format events and everyone's kind of trying to figure out what the meta call is. No one knows what's good. It's so much fun to watch these internets when they're the first event of a brand new format. It is such a cool experience because it has such high stakes as well. And so yeah, no, this was also a really, really fun tournament to watch.
I gotta say at this point, I want to I've already called out Europe like 4 times this episode, but I feel like I am looking at these names and I feel like they have a lot of I guess this is less of a call out, but I'm thinking of like more new talent is who I want for my smart money. Like I'm looking at a lot of these old names and I feel like I haven't exactly found somebody that I want to pick for my smart money yet. Whereas like there are some really strong names that I guess weren't even playing back then, who are like probably in my top picks for people that could win this whole thing. We're getting closer to those names.
The top 3 here, they all look pretty good.
Yes, these are names that again, as we get closer to recent times, that I'm looking at these names and I'm like, dang, these are definitely some names to watch out for. Also, in terms of invaders, Joe very likely to be going to this one. Joe goes to everything, right? So I imagine Joe is going to UIC. He probably has a travel award to it, and I just don't even realize it. So because he's already gotten so many championship points. Eric, very good pick. OE doing well recently. And
this was one of the craziest finals that you can imagine. I actually have a YouTube video about the end game of Game 3 of this finals, where I think it's called like how a player off miss won Eric Rios the EUIC or something like that. Crazy match. Definitely a match that was is worth a watch.
And Marcus has been doing pretty decently as well lately. So. And Wolf again. Wolf always just making it like to top 16. I mean, I know that like you could say that about almost every tournament he's attending. Like, he's got a pretty low or a pretty high floor usually. But yeah, here he is again. I don't know if Wolf has ever won a tournament outside the US though, right? So, I guess that's just something to think about. Right?
That's true. Has he not?
He won Toronto.
Oh, he did.
Okay, fair.
Yeah,
you gotta say North America.
That's not going to be true in like a couple years or whatever, because we're trying to make that one of our states or something. Not to bring politics into it, of course. Jokes aside. Let's see. I'm just glancing through names here again. The thing is, I definitely have less to say about European names because they are not players from my region that I know as much of the history of. Tomas Gravatui. I can never say his last name right. He's just streaming.
I love that you put a T into his last name.
Yeah, I say Gravatui, dude, because it looks like Ratatouille, but it's not actually.
Man, that Rain Shedinja team was such a menace this format, and it was just the French. It was just the Frenchmen running it, and it was so annoying to play against. And Tomas really innovated that team. There's the Hoge brothers. I think this is the Hoge's breakout event in top 32. I don't think we'd seen him play very much before this.
I do see one Hoge here. I don't know if I saw the other Hoge, but yeah.
Let's see. To give you some other names, Jacopo had one of the coolest teams in this tournament. I know we were really hyped about this. And I think he also had a really cool team in either one of the Victory Road tours, or I saw his name recently playing. I didn't know he was still playing. But he's if you're looking for a fun team, he's pretty well known. I think Sella in 11th place has obviously you see Paul Chiacali, I see, got a root for him. But also had a really good showing at Birmingham regionals this past year as well. He's on my NPA team. He's been killing it, so he's definitely a name to look out for as well. Who you got?
I was just gonna say, it's like the elephant in the room is that there's been like at least like 3 names here that I've had to avoid because they're banned, and so that is just like hilarious to me. But yeah, keeping it moving. There's the time that we won NA. In 2023. Paul Chua took that. Paul Chua took it home and is probably going to be attending this one. I thought I saw something about him attending. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, like, why wouldn't you go to a tournament that you proved you've been able to win before? You know, you probably could just do it again. Agati,
and if you're in the East Coast in the US, right? It's such an easy flight. It's basically a local tournament. It's cheaper than flying to like Portland or something. So it's cheaper to go to EUIC than it is to go to the World Championships if you live on the East Coast. So you might as well.
Yep. And with so much on the line, so many championship points and whatnot. I was running the numbers on this earlier, just trying to figure out what kind of meme I wanted to use to announce the stream. And there's like 54k championship points being rewarded at this tournament if it gets that, as we mentioned, top 512 championship points or whatever it was. So yeah, just so many points being put into the economy, I guess. But I don't know, a lot of it. I'm not worried about those 80s. I'll have to admit, the people that are picking up those 80s, those are finishes you want to replace regardless.
Excuse me, I'm getting to the World Championship with 2 of my 60s still on the board.
580s in the regional category. Do you think it's enough? Will this get me a Worlds invite?
I mean, legitimately, 580s is what, 400 points. If you get some good GC finishes and you get all of your local finishes, you're probably still a little short.
No. Okay.
Close
some other names here though. James Evans, we were just talking about East Coast. Wouldn't be surprised to see him going. Joan, honestly, Dozo has been doing pretty well right now. So if Joan's in attendance, definitely has the Dozo sauce for this tournament. Julio, I think, just got second in that Victory Road tournament we were looking at with a very boring Terrapagos team. But if we're saying Terrapagos is looking strong, then, that's a good time to be running that. Oh, yeah, here we go. Let's see.
Davide Guerrero again. Number 7, one of the strongest Greek trip players. Yeah, you mentioned Davide. Mentioned Alex. We've talked about Alex Gomez. We talked about Pato. We talked about Torviv. Matty Morgan, another really, really good player, regional champion. Luca Cerabelli, now world champion, is up there. Desu got second at one of the EUICs earlier. So a lot of really, really strong names here.
And then now we are at the most recent one. So won by Nils. Tim Edwards honestly has been a little low key since this finish, but so I'm not even sure if Tim is going or not. But anyways,
I mean, he's been playing. He just hasn't been getting finishes.
Well, okay, you can say it a little more literally than I have, Adi. I said he was like low key, dude. Chill.
I imagine he's going again. Like you said, if you've shown that you can get second place in a tournament, you got to go back. You got to defend it.
Right. Then here's
anyways.
Luca
by the way,
again.
another EUIC won by an American. By the way, just to be.
Well, yeah. I mean, the flag might not look like it on this website, but you got to trust me. Nils is 100%. He played for Team USA, so
pull up the Victory Road page. That'll tell you.
That's true.
Got to have the right flag up.
One thing that's pretty interesting is that EUIC in Scarlet and Violet has sort of been like a breakout tournament for Don Dozo. If you look at like 2023 and 2024, like 2023, that Terragrass Dozo team saved us from a billion pallet smears in all the top cut.
Saved?
And then
can you ever use that word about Don Dozo? What? Huh?
I'm sorry. Do you like watching 20 turn pallet smears?
Do you like watching Don Dozo click protect every other turn? What?
No, you can't. This team. The Lexar Dozo team was so toxic to play against, to team build against. Like, Iron Bundled Chi-Yu was so oppressively powerful in this format, except for when it missed its moves. And so like it just like it won. I brought it to multiple events, and I not with Dozo, but just like that combination, and it was just so stupid. It just felt like the game was out of your control entirely. But the team was really, really strong, and I would much rather watch a balance mirror where the game is in the player's control.
A little bit.
And then last year you had the Tinglu Dozo. It was mostly a top 64. There was a bunch of them, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
I remember because I stole this team and took it to Orlando.
Not to flame your take again, but like you have to understand that Dozo Giri and Dozo Tinglu are not the same thing. Those are so different. I guess they are the same Pokemon when you say like a Dozo breakout. That's like kind of accurate.
Yeah, I guess what I meant is more so it just sort of comes out of nowhere.
Right.
Because like
100%.
prior to both of these tournaments, no one was really using it. This is a theory I have about Dondozo is that Dondozo's strength in a format is based on how good people think it is. So if people think that Dondozo is bad, no one has Dondozo checks, so it becomes good. And then everyone remembers, oh, we need to add Dondozo checks to our team so we don't lose to it. And it starts doing bad again. It just repeats this never-ending cycle.
It's just a matchup fish.
Yeah.
Matchup
fish. All right,
fish.
yeah.
Heatran.
Heatran and Zapdos. I heard Zapdos is good.
That's true. That's true. It's Heatran and Zapdos' time. Let's see some other names. We saw a lot of familiar ones again. And then down here we got like Wolf again. Aurelian, another strong name there. Victor Medina down here. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully people have some
Pengi,
names.
my favorite European.
That's true. That's true.
We're trading Pengi for Nils.
There's so many like it's just I don't know, so many backwards like flags and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and jump over to Smart Money and Hunter. It looks like I got you here first, so you got first dibs. Is there what name would you pick for Smart Money this tournament?
I'm gonna take the easy way out. I'm gonna say Mr. Marco
Fierro, last name Fierro.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You gotta say his full name or it doesn't count.
Yeah, true. Every part. Otherwise, I don't know who you're talking about. All right, Eric, over to you. Who are you picking?
I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna put my money on Torviv. I think he's just hitting his stride, and I think I really want to see him win a major event.
Okay. Adi, what you got?
I'm taking someone who has had a lot of success in Victory Road tournaments. One of the strongest European players who hasn't had a strong finish at the European Championships. I'm picking Francisco Pio Pero, who just won a Victory Road tournament last week with Terapagos.
All right. That was the Heatran one, right?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. All right. Wait, I had an answer and then it immediately slipped my mind. Oh yes, that's who it was. I'm gonna grab. I have to check which one, but I was gonna grab one of the Hose brothers. Why not? Victory Road. Who's Frederick? Okay, Frederick's the most recently high finishing Hose brother. I feel like this team is like destined for a strong finish. I mean, they've like had plenty of strong finishes online with it, but I feel like it'll carry over to EUIC. So don't mind me copy pasting to spell it correctly, and put it in there, and it definitely the formatting matches all the rest. Don't worry, it looks like it blends in seamlessly. Okay.
Yeah, and if you have a Smart Money pick, post it in chat because we won't believe that you got it right if you don't post it in chat.
Exactly. You can't just come next week when you say like I knew that they were gonna win. No, you didn't. You didn't put it in chat. All right. Let's move over to the Calc is Right. I forgot to ask beforehand, but do you guys both know how Calc is Right works? Do you guys know the rules and stuff?
Yes.
It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it before.
Cool. If I'll just do a quick refresher for chat anyways here. So basically the premise is that we're going to present a damage calc situation to the other members of the call here, and they have to guess what number in the percentage range amount of damage it's going to do, basically. So if you were going to present this situation here, Abomasnow Blizzard into another Abomasnow, you'd mention how much special attack it is and how much HP how much bulk the opposing Abomasnow has. If you guessed 40, that would be in the correct range. Nothing on the line, just trying to see how well we know our stuff. So with that said, does anybody want to get started? Does anybody have a calc in mind? Could be one related to your guys' runs in the past over this past weekend, or anything fun in general.
Yeah, I have one to
Go
start.
ahead.
This actually happened to me in Baltimore, but it's a Kilowattrel with Focus Sash, 252 special attack, 252 speed, timid. But instead of having competitive, it has wind power.
Yep.
And it sets up Tailwind, so it has a boost on wind power. How much does Thunderbolt do into a no bulk Salamence with just 4 HP?
Ooh, Salamence with no bulk. Okay.
Those are not mons I've thought about in a long time.
Right? This is awesome.
Oh,
this is a great calc. I love it because it's really putting us to the test. All right, I got my number.
I've got a number.
Me too.
All right, Eric, call on someone to start.
Adi can start.
I think it's doing. One thing I've learned about Kilowattrel is whatever you think it's doing, it does less than that. And so I'm gonna say it's doing 70%.
I'm gonna take 85.
Okay. I'll jump in here for the last one, and I'm picking 90. But yeah, it's not killing. Come on. This is a Kilowattrel. I used this thing at my most recent major, actually. I didn't use the wind power one, though, but I feel like it's just going to come up short. Maybe I'm overestimating it still. Okay, so you said no bulk whatsoever.
Yeah, 4 HP.
That's plus 2.
That's competitive. Can I do? I'm sure the calc has wind power if I put up Tailwind, right? Wait, does it?
I think you have
you can tick
Alex,
the box.
Alex, fix your
Unbelievable.
Oh, you got to check the box.
Wait, what box? Oh, next to it.
ability.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, is wind power a plus 2 boost?
Wind power is
I
charge.
Oh,
wind power is plus 2. Its charge is plus 2. Or charge is double.
Oh, I did not know that. I thought it was plus 1.
Yeah, you guys got mechanics. You guys got mechanics. You got owned. To be fair, I also got the calc wrong, so I don't get to flaunt that much. But I was the closest, so yeah, that's actually so.
In Baltimore, I was so shocked.
I honestly believed in Salamence a little bit more though. I was like pseudo legend. It probably has like okay enough bulk. 95, 80. I guess that's not quite cutting it when double damage is headed your way. All right. Anybody else got a calc to go next?
I have one from Merida. This one's pretty interesting, and it was very surprising to me when it happened. So 252 Adamant, Life Orb, Entei, Terra Normal Double Edge into a Kyogre with 236 HP and 28 defense.
Okay.
All right. Well, Alex knows Entei really well, right? So
you would, yeah. I was running Life Orb Double Edge at the tournament, man. Shut up.
Oh, is that why you didn't? Is that why you did so well? I was running Life Orb Double Edge.
I've got my number.
Can't believe you changed your team on me.
Yes, I did.
I got a number. There's no Chen Pao on the field or anything, right? Just
no. Just raw Entei.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
I'm ready.
All right, let's hear it.
So pick somebody to start.
You gotta pick it.
Alex, go ahead.
I think this is just doing a kill. I'm gonna say even confidently it's a kill. 105 is my number. Pick someone else.
What about you, Adi?
I think it's a roll to kill. I'm gonna say it does 100.
All right.
What about you, Eric?
I was gonna say 95.
All right. Wow. We're just covering all the bases here. We could all be right. We could all be wrong. I don't know. Let's see. All right. So the exact bulk on this Kyogre was 236.28. You said.
Yes.
All right, I got that one right. Entei was Adamant Max, but not Choice Band. We're looking at Life Orb with not
Terra
extreme
Normal Double
speed.
Edge.
Double Edge. And then let's go ahead and Terra. Dude, this guy sucks. No!
I was very surprised. It did like 80% to my Kyogre. I did not think it was going to do that much. That caught me off guard.
Oh my god. This guy sucks.
Base 115 attack stat does not cut it anymore.
I must have been thinking about how I was like, it's literally a choice band on top of extreme speed's base power. So like, it's gonna do. Oh wait, I forgot to take off the tailwind. Oh yeah, they didn't change it.
What if you give it wind power? Is that gonna?
If you put on Sword of Ruin, we're all right. We just assumed Chien-Pao was there, I guess.
I just think I've never seen an Entei without a Chien-Pao next to it. That's
yeah,
probably it.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Adi, you got one ready?
Oh, I got one ready. I got a very topical one that I'm sure we've all seen in this recently in the metagame. So we got a Terrapagos, right? It's just 4 HP. It's not Terra. It's got its Terra Shell. And it's staring down at Tinkaton. And this Tinkaton is Mold Breaker and it's max attack Adamant. How much is the Gigaton Hammer doing to unterra'd 4 HP Terrapagos?
I got my number.
I've got my number.
Oh wow, we're all confident about this one.
Yeah, we know.
All right.
Oh wait, before I.
All right, Alex, what do you think?
60%. I'm gonna say it's going over half, but not that much.
Okay, Eric, what about you?
I was gonna say 55. I had about the same range.
55.
I was thinking the exact same. I'll go 57 just to be different, but that was about what I was thinking.
All right.
So fast specs, I guess, should suffice. Let's see. Assault Vest own tempo, wrong ability. I could just turn off the ability, but that's the Assault Vest. Breaker. Okay. I think I'm seeing some of us are in there, but some of us didn't quite believe in Tinkaton.
Yeah, it's doing
pretty funny.
56 to 67%. So 55 is not quite in the range.
All right. I guess that brings it to me. I'm trying to think of any weird Pokemon we saw today. I kind of...
We saw a Sylveon and a Meowscarada.
No.
And we saw a...
Fruit Bonnet was there.
We saw those guys. They pulled up.
I was struggling to... the whole time I was trying to think of a Calc, and I just kept getting caught up in listening to your guys' Calc, so... let me take a glance and see if anything.
Sorry, you can't look at the European tournament to find an interesting Pokemon.
There's going to be nothing inspiring. You're 100% right here. Yeah. Okay. I'll try to do something a bit weird here. We were talking about that Mario team earlier. You know, the one with Iron Defense, Zamazenta, and a Tinglu. Let me go ahead and find out what Calc Default Tinglu looks like. Bulky Rocky Helmet. Okay, Calc Default Tinglu. It's got a positive defense nature, 228, 36 here. And I want to know how much does plus... They're playing the mirror. How much does +3 Zamazenta body press do? The Zamazenta, we'll say, is like max defense. It's like impish 252. So it's a strong Zam. Going for its +3 body press into the opposing Tinglu.
No Terra or anything.
No Terra. The Tinglu just decided to just take it. You know, was it a mistake or not? That's up to you.
All right, I got a number.
Okay. Let's. You know what? I'm gonna save the Zamazenta player for last. So, Adi.
That is not only killing. I think that's murdering. I think it's doing 140.
140. Okay. I mean, we'll see. Hunter, what about you?
I'm gonna go for 89.
89. You think that the Tinglu
Really?
might just hang on?
Really?
All right. I saw Eric's eyes get really big when he heard that number. So, Eric, what is your number? You have to be right, or you're a fake Zama player.
130.
130. All right, you're much more in the Adi territory. But you know what? To be fair, I brought this Calc up because I was kind of in the Hunter territory. I was like, dude, what? Tinglu's got a lot of defense. Like, maybe this guy just hangs on for no reason.
I'm ready to be wrong.
Yeah.
It's +3. I was thinking, I think it does about 80 at neutral. Give it the plus
Okay,
2.
wait. So I do +2, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Except
attack.
that's attack.
Okay. All right. +3. Here we go. 111 to 132. So, Audie, were you the 140?
I was the 140. Yeah.
Tough. Well, guess what? The only person to get it right was the Zama player. So even though you don't even play Iron Defense Zama.
I will say this is the reason why Iron Defense is bad. Did you see there's a big difference between doubling your damage when you click Iron Defense to going from, I think it was like 75% to 111%. That's only like a 1.5x or I think it's 1.6 something x boost. It's a much smaller boost than just clicking than clicking Iron Defense on a Komodo or a Gudra or something like that. So it is like that is the reason that Iron Defense is not a good set to run. Is it's just like it's closer to clicking Defense Curl with a normal Pokemon than clicking Iron Defense with a normal Pokemon.
At least for the one, yeah. And anything beyond that is just like crazy, like circumstantial, I feel like. But yes, this is I just did the math on it. It's like a 66% repeating increase from +3 to +1. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of Iron Defense for the most part, especially because if you're running it over Protect. But I was just curious, like, because I knew that it's not the same as 0 to +2 as 1 to 3. That's why I was hoping Ting-Lu could maybe survive. I was crazy to think it, I guess. All right.
I'm kind of curious how many people like outside of Best of One actually run like the Iron Defense over Protect. Because I know Mario, I believe he had Protect.
He did have Protect. I
Got
don't think
it,
he had
got
Iron
it.
Defense. I think it was Behemoth Bash, the Body Press Wide Guard. I think it was just the standard one.
To be fair, this person actually ran it to 7 and 2 in the VR. This was a best of 3 open team sheet tournament. So whether or not that's the right call or not, maybe they could have gone further if they had Protect and they didn't even need the Iron Defense. It's kind of hard to say just based off the results, but interesting.
Well, we all know the optimal set to run is actually Grassy Seed. So you get the +2.
Grassy Seed, but also still run Iron Defense because then you can get the +4 really fast. It's just it's so much better.
Yeah, all right, you don't have the weakness or ground weakness with Baby Zom.
Yeah, and all the other really cool steel type resistances, those things suck. I hate those.
Yeah.
You also lose a bunch of stats. I was actually, after our last hub takes, we were talking it up and I was like, I gotta test this. I wonder if this is good. No, you actually lose a lot of stats. It really hurts.
Yeah.
I know in one of my USPA matches, I saw my opponent was running like Baby Zacian. And I put it in chat and I was like, should I be scared of this? And it's like, it ties to everything. Like, it's not even a restricted at that point. Like,
dang. That's so sad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for this week's Tub Takes. Thank you both for being on. Really appreciate you guys coming on. And congrats again on your finish this past weekend. We're going to wrap this one up. So if you guys are here now, but you didn't catch the beginning, make sure to check it out on YouTube tomorrow. CK49 on YouTube. And other than that, we'll be back next week to talk about EUIC, the results of that one. We might be streaming a rewatch of it this weekend, and I should be returning to some ladder streaming this week. Gotta scout out what those people are running for EUIC and have a potential chance to ruin their team's secrecy by queuing into them onto the ladder because why not? Anyways, jokes aside though,
and I've also been hyping up the EUIC rewatch so much, so I guess I have to do it now.
You've mentioned it like 4 times, right? I mean, I might join you on it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna take a second to figure out who we're going to raid. But in the meantime, we'll just say our goodbyes here and catch you guys again next week for Tub Takes then. So have a good night, peeps. Catch you later. Peace. Later.